All right, YouTube's up.
5 seconds.
You know to wait. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Titanium Tuesdays. I am Ryan Harper, your guest host. I am not RJ Bates. RJ is feeling a little under the weather, but we thought we would have a good opportunity to sit down with both Cassi and RJ to talk about their partnership and really dive into that. Because I know RJ, with his glorious beard, is the main host and the main figurehead of Titanium, or not Tuesdays, but Titanium Investments. But most people may not know Cassie's or is it Cassi or Cassia? We'll get into that. But she's like a full-on partner. But anyway, so we're going to be talking about partners, their partnership specifically, and then try to drop nuggets along the way. So stick around, have fun, drop comments. We'll be right back. Hey, so we're back. So we've got Cassia.
Cassi.
And we've got RJ.
What's up, everybody?
Hi, everyone.
So RJ's feeling under the weather, so that's why, hey, Ryan, jump in. But it was a great opportunity to talk to you guys about your partnership because, again, I saw a comment this morning you complaining about being called RJ's assistant.
I legitimately, it's a trigger. I legitimately was like, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I think, people, sometimes it's a battle that I have to just deal with, and people just make assumptions. I think if they just don't know any better,
But Cassie, you're a woman. Clearly, you're my assistant.
Right. I couldn't possibly know anything about business.
I hate to be that way, but it is so insulting all the time. Even for me, because sometimes I feel guilty as if I don't broadcast it enough.
Right.
Where it's like, Cassie's my partner. Without her, we wouldn't be where we are today. And so.
Well, what's funny is that guilt that you may have. I think you've not pawned it off, but I feel like I have that shared guilt now. So anytime I'm talking about y'all, I always feel like I have to just really throw it out there that no, Cassie's a partner.
Right.
Well, I don't personally mean to make y'all feel guilty or feel like you're walking down a cobbled
Well, I'm not
street.
associated with your company at all, so I shouldn't feel guilty.
Shame. But no, I think it's just it's something that makes me a little bit sad in general for the world.
Now, but you think is it because of RJ's dynamic personality? And I'm not saying you don't have a dynamic personality, but let's be honest, you have more of the personality of once I get to know you.
Right.
I open up, and if I don't know you, I'm sitting in the corner judging you and making sure. It's almost like a lion hunting somebody.
Yeah.
Where RJ's just get up in there like a gorilla, right up in there.
I think that it's just a factor of time, the timing of where we're at in our company, branding and media wise. We did put RJ out there as, more of the face while I focused on more of the operations. I think it's just natural for people to, it's just the combined factor of the two. So he does have that really good dynamic personality, but also he's just a better public speaker than I am, bottom line.
Well,
I tend to have to think about things before I say them, and that's why I was today with everything going on, I was I'm cool now, but a year ago, I wouldn't have been as comfortable sitting here today without something planned. I tend to think things through. He's just really good on his toes. So, it made sense to put him out there. He's really good at, speaking to people, being on the fly,
Yeah, and what I just want to point out is with RJ, yes, he can get probably angry at people, but he probably has a better wall of hiding that. Whereas with you,
I wear my heart on my sleeve.
You'll see the blood boil in the face. And RJ, you're does he is he mysterious? I don't know what's going on there.
He's very cool, calm, and collected.
I have gotten the mysterious thing a couple times, which I find a little bit odd because I do try to put myself out there by doing things like this, speaking at Propelio, the podcast and things like that. But again, to Cassie's point, that was a decision that we made when we first got started that, hey, this was going to be something that I do, because she also has strengths in areas that don't get a whole lot of publicity that are weaknesses for me in order operations, training people, So she does a lot of things behind scenes that nobody ever knows about. And that's where the whole like, oh, she must be an assistant comes from.
Well, and I'd like to get into that here in a little bit about what makes an effective partnership and where have y'all separated and where do y'all kind of cover each other and complement each other. But going back to just the personality traits, because I know like with Daniel, like we work hand in hand together and we complement each other very well. Just because, like with me, like hate you, love you, I'll still talk to you. Daniel, like love you, he might hug you. Hate you, he does want to cut you. So it's kind of like that. I can see you cutting a bitch every once in a while.
No, I've become more and more refined in that area, which I'm grateful for. It's helped me develop just personally, not just business-wise. Because in our prior businesses, I mean, I could very easily not have to like grow in that area.
Right.
Like it was very easy for me to just be like, I don't like you, deuces, bro. Right. But now, like I'm grateful for that because I can kind of be I'm very social. Like you said, once I get to know you, like if you make it past that layer, like we're cool and I'll tell you everything under the sun.
Well, I love this comment from Alberto on YouTube calling you a warrior boss lady.
Yes, I love
There
it.
you
We
go.
call it warrior queen, but I love warrior boss lady, anything. It is something that, I mean, frankly, I don't feel that different than when we first started the business, but I know for a fact, like I've watched RJ even just grow so much. I'm so proud of what we've done, but I do have to say I'm personally like really proud in those strange areas because the business side of things, like that's going to happen no matter what. We're always going to be learning and growing, but it's just like the personal development as a leader.
Struggles.
Yeah.
Most of what I've grown has just been my beard. But
I
Jordan Stanley,
beg to differ.
Yeah, Jordan Stanley Payne actually he cracked the code as to why people think I'm mysterious. He said my beard actually hides all my facial expressions, so nobody actually knows.
I knew you before the beard.
So thank you for the great insight, Jordan. We appreciate that.
Okay. Why is Titanium Tuesday always about the damn effing beard? It's like we're a
There's
real
so much
estate
beard.
industry clique. But speaking about cliques, that's what I love about just this business. Because we were talking about it right before we went live about some other opportunities out there, and there's this guy we're talking to, and he's worth, and I'm like, who? You know, and the reason I'm bringing that up is, until recently, like, y'all didn't know me, I didn't know you, and there's a lot of cliques out there, but y'all are highly successful. Y'all are in how many states now?
8 for sure, like branches.
A lot. I mean,
how many logos do you have? That should have.
probably 28 logos.
But my point there is just like, y'all made the decision to be more public, but before then y'all were still grinding it out, not really worried about the Instagram fame or the Facebook fame or whatever. You're just trying to build a business.
Right.
So when y'all first got started, was it more just, hey, let's do everything together, or was it you do this, I'll do this? I'm trying to figure out, did y'all naturally figure out what y'all are better at, or did it just happen that way?
Yeah, I think one of the things that Cassie and I have been criticized for by people that we work with is that we do almost everything together. We always ride in the car together, we go look at houses together, and people are like, there's 2 of you. If you separated, couldn't you do twice as productive? And for us, it's always been about the fact that we are together, we can communicate, game plan. One person could be driving, one person could be on the phone, the other person can help out. We kind of always, just on the way here from the office to Propelio, I mean, we probably had 4 conversations about properties in 4 different states.
Right.
So for us, it helps like on the communication side, but I think we started out really naturally that way because in our prior business, when we did transition to this, I mean, those businesses were very like, here's what we do. Very easily scalable. Delegating was not as difficult. Things like that. When we went full-time real estate, I think that it just happened naturally because we're constantly learning and growing together.
So just to interrupt you real quick, you talking about before real estate, before this business, what were y'all doing before?
So we actually were GCs, basically.
General contractor for all
GCs, general contractors.
We were
Just dumb everything down.
we made really pretty properties. We didn't make any money though, so we were what I like to consider a very bad general contractor. I mean, we were running a hobby. We were not running a business. I think we have a great question here from Kelly Smith.
You're not the host.
I know I'm not the host, but I am the person that has this in front of me. She wants to know how we perform due diligence in other markets.
So good people, that's just the bottom line. Numbers are numbers, and you have to have somebody that can step foot on the property. Actually, one of the conversations that we had here earlier on the way here was somebody saying, you know, you can make photos of a property look really good, but you know,
that guy right there is really good at it.
Yeah. I mean, and I understand that because angle, lighting, you know, all that stuff. You can make properties look really good, but you're not gonna see, like, I don't have pictures of like the roof. I don't have pictures of the foundation. I mean, you can get things like, you know, electrical panels, but you can't feel if the AC or the heat is working, you know, things like that. So you have to have good boots on the ground.
Couple of systems that we use that can really kind of narrow this down and help you if you're looking to expand. We use Facebook Workplace. So all of our boots on the ground, they go to the property, they do Facebook Live videos walking through, they can upload the pictures there. We also utilize anything G Suites, so we utilize Google Drive. For our wholesale property marketing blasts, we just use the Google Drive folder for those. But again, like to Cassie's point, it's all about the boots on the ground. And so in markets where we don't necessarily feel like we have a strong partner has a background in general contracting or rehabs, then we do have a strong general contractor themselves that want the property with our boots on the ground. So again, it's just about having that strong boots on the ground person.
There was a huge nugget in there that's half nugget, half joke. Y'all use Facebook Workplace?
Yeah.
Like I just saw ads for it. I've never known or heard of anybody actually use it.
Yeah.
It's
Can
wonderful.
we tangent real quick just to explain what that is?
Absolutely.
Because I've seen, like I said, the Facebook ads, and I click don't hide this because I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't care.
Yeah.
So you're the first person I've ever heard actually use it.
We actually use it. It's what is that? Is it Slide? I don't remember. Slack. That's what I'm looking for. I guess I hear it's very similar to Slack. We've never personally used Slack. We always had used like a Voxer Viber situation.
Just like an instant message system between
Right.
your
You can walkie-talkie. You can do SMS videos and SMS texts. So, like for example, at one point in time, I know it was really difficult if you had an Android and you had an iPhone, which is like accurate. If I were to, voice text you, sometimes like you wouldn't get it. Now I think they've kind of cleared those things up, but for those reasons, like we just used it as like an internal, communications.
Just like an IM system.
Right, yeah, and it made it easier for like group and stuff, and I liked it because, you could actually have it on your computer.
Right.
So for me, while I'm sitting there with my desks and my computers and like somebody's wanting to do a property walkthrough, they can video chat me and I can have it pulled up on my computer. And if I want it on a big screen, it's way easier than the phone.
So speaking of on a computer, and because you were talking about always being together, is like whoever's driving, the other person's on a computer, and do y'all flip-flop, or is there designated roles? Like
I normally drive in the morning because she's doing her makeup, and and she drives in the afternoon so I can get work accomplished.
Hey, Cassie, I wonder why everybody thinks you're an assistant.
He is so full of it.
You
Every
She
now and
comments
then.
within 15 minutes. It's like she's a woman and she's always doing makeup.
Hey, but
And I'm barefoot in the kitchen, like every
getting,
evening.
Getting back to workplace, I will say I have to give credit to our partner in Arizona, Jeremy Dimmers. He was actually the one that started this.
We moved over from Viber
Okay.
to a workplace just because it had a few more features. Like, for example, the fact that they could go live on a feed, and it's set up just like Facebook.
But you can upload files on there as well.
Right. You can integrate like Google. So G Drive, you can integrate it into there. things like that. We actually don't really do that yet, but for us, it's, you know, keeping the groups really separate. It was very easy. So it's just like a good communication tool when you have, especially like we do, multiple branches in different states.
So, you know, shout out to Facebook. Stop hiding our feeds. We just gave you a plug.
Yeah, for real.
Does that help on the algorithm? What you just did there?
Like if they hear Facebook being
Right.
said, the more times you hear Facebook, they're like, oh, well, this guy actually turned on notifications.
Right.
Let's actually show his stuff.
So, and another benefit of the workplace is that we have, each one of our markets has its own group.
Yeah.
So, for example, when John Brown in Ohio goes and walks a property, it's not notifying Jeremy in Arizona because Jeremy doesn't need to see that. But we do also have the entire Titanium team where we can broadcast like, hey, when we sell a property, hey, we just sold the property, and everybody, it's, to me, it's a lot of, it's better for communication, but it also boosts morale for everybody to know like, hey, we're collectively winning as a team and notifying everybody
Right.
what's happening.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So I would say also like my favorite feature too is that it's not just each branch. Like you can have group for, so like for cold callers, like that. Like you can have a specific group, and you can say, hey, I want you guys all to focus on this week. You know. So we have like weekly hangouts meetings or whatever, and then we'll have like the Titanium top 5 is what we call it. So like these are our focuses this week. You know, if you get one done each day, if you get them all done this day, you know, like these are like our focus for the week, and so that's what we've got to achieve.
So we're talking about teamwork at the moment, but let's get it back on the rails for the partnership. So as a partnership, and then also as a team, like how big is y'all's team right now? Like, because I know you're in several markets, and you have a lot of employees.
I think with all the employees, we're probably at like 75 to 80 people.
Okay, so 75 to 80 people. What's the hierarchy? Is it RJ? Is it Cassie? Is it like a parents where it's like, if I really want something, I go to this person. If I really want to make sure I'm not in trouble, I go to this person. Or is there a central figurehead?
So I feel like we're very adverse to titles, and so this is probably part of the reason why I experience like certain things like that, where people just assume, you know, RJ is the figurehead because he's the person that's been more out there media-wise.
Right.
But so we're not really like title kind of people. Like you could technically, like people always want to technically call RJ the CEO. Like he has certain traits that are strengths that make him like very much look like the CEO.
Don't say beard.
It's the beard. No, but he's like that CEO hurricane factor. That is RJ to a T. I tend to be a little bit more operationally minded in ways, but so it's really easy for people to put me in a COO category. But at the end of the day, like we both wear all of the hats, but so do some of our partners. So it's very difficult for us to, because of the way that we have scaled our business out and branched out, we have other partners. So I wouldn't say that people say, I'm gonna go like it's a team effort. So we call everybody literally like warriors. Like everybody's just, you know.
I think another way to kind of like narrow that down on your specific question, like in Hawaii, the main point of contact for Hawaii is Elijah.
Yes.
He's our partner there, but Elijah is going to run everything with me and Cassie. And one thing that never changes, no matter what market it is that RJ and Cassie are a collective unit in that Titanium Investments. Then we have our individual partners. They are in control of that actual branch. And we are there for certain aspects of support and to help them and to grow that branch. But
Systems,
they
processes.
are the head honcho there.
So as a cohesive unit per se, when say something shit actually hits the fan,
Yep.
and you're the person that gets the phone call, and Cassie's still doing her makeup.
Yep.
Do you make the decision? Do you just like ready, fire, aim, or do you say, look, I need to talk to Cassie and I'll get right back to you? And then if you do make a decision, do you, even if you disagree, do you back it up, or let's go into that dynamic?
So RJ and
yes,
I.
I'm just kidding about the makeup. And then we could vice versa the question.
Right. So RJ and I, like, it just depends on the situation, but like he has like full authority. I have full authority. So if it's a situation like we think that much alike, 98% of the time, like, and people will kind of razz us because when RJ and I like differ like on how we think something should go, like we're like super hard on each other. We'll be like, no, it needs to go like this. But at the end of the day, I don't care if we do it his way or we do it my way, even when we aren't. But when it comes to anything that shit hits the fan, so to say, like we always agree on it anyway. So if the trigger needs to be pulled, then. But we rarely come into situations where I feel like either one of us feels like they have to check in with the other one to make that kind of.
I think it's something you said before. I might be giving you credit for some at 1 year's, but there's really nothing ever that's so pivotal that you can't just take a few beats and come back to it later.
Right,
Was that something you said?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And to Cassie's point, another thing that part of being together all the time is that we are always communicating about the different situations that could arise. And so most of the time we've already talked about it and we're already prepared for what could potentially happen. And so there's certain situations, for example, we have a large portfolio of rentals in St. Louis. Cassie's not involved in that. That's not because, I'm not saying that.
Cassie?
Yeah, right. I'm not saying that in a negative aspect. I'm saying I am spearheading that. We don't need her to waste her time on that. And so any decision needs to be made on that, I'm just going to make the decision. Otherwise, I would have to rehash a year and a half of details to explain the decision.
He basically just gives me like
Right.
points of update and periodically, and I know people always make fun of us too because they'll be like, oh, Cassie's creeping. RJ always, like we get a lot of phone time in when we're driving places. And RJ will always have it on Bluetooth, and then he doesn't have to recommunicate it to me. You know what I'm saying? So I get my updates from his side. And then on the other side of things, he's really much better about this than I am. Just full disclosure. Yeah, probably. Because
Look, you open it up. Now I'm going to get in trouble.
I mean, of course I'm better than you. I mean, you're just my assistant. So.
he's much better about, he's more comfortable if I don't give him updates. Like, I'm not as comfortable not knowing what's going on as he is.
So what you're saying is he has more faith than you have faith in him?
No, I just like I like to be always like in the loop knowing
Actually,
what's going on.
I want to touch base on that. I will actually explain the reason why. Because for a very long time, there was a lack of trust in Cassie.
From you or
from me?
Okay.
Because I was such a control freak.
Okay.
And at some point in time, I had to realize in order for me to grow, I had to trust her.
I just want to point out that this was due to nothing to do with me.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you say grow, you mean like personal growth or personal growth and company growth?
Both. I mean, I needed to grow personally so the company could grow. I can't always doubt all of my partners, especially Cassie, who's been there since day one. And so I had to eventually get to the point where I say, look, this is yours, own it, take it over, and I don't even want that.
I think that's a huge nugget for anybody out there that has a partnership of whatever design. If it's a true partnership, you need to find a way to trust each other.
Let it go.
Let it go. So I think on that note,
I was about to.
On that note, I think we're going to cut to a quick break. I hope you're enjoying what we got going on right here. We got a lot of comments that we're going to try to get to. If you have questions, if you have thoughts, give these guys some love. Usually, Cassie and I both are off camera, like typing away, so we're not there. So it's just RJ on screen now. So help us out. Get the likes, get the shares. Quick nugget: for the first 10 people that share out the YouTube link of this video, and I built a new thing.
Are you gonna let me do your makeup in the morning?
What?
Let's do that challenge.
What?
I'll do your makeup since you brought it up.
What is that?
Wow.
So I'm gonna drop a link in right now. So the first 10 people that could screenshot you liking or not liking, you sharing the YouTube link out, we'll give a book away. Let's do The Richest Man in Babylon because that's a fun book we did yesterday. It's the first 10. So there's a form that I just dropped in the links. Go to that form, just fill it out, drop a screenshot, and first 10. Anyway, we're going to go a quick break. When we come back, more with these guys. Thanks for joining in. everybody. Thanks for sticking around. So what we're talking today, this is Titanium Tuesday with RJ Bates and Cassi DeHaas. Is that the right pronunciation?
Cassi DeHaas.
That's close.
You were so close.
We're talking about their partnership, but also trying to deduce, some of those nuggets that have worked for them, and maybe apply it to your business, your partnership. One thing that we just talked about right before we went to break was the fact that for RJ to grow as a human and also to grow within the business itself, he had to learn to trust Cassi more with the business and her decisions.
Real quick,
yes, sir.
My buddy Brent Blaine just joined.
Brent.
And I think this is the first time he's ever joined on Titanium Tuesdays.
So I'm taking that credit.
And Brent Blaine, I wish I could convince him to come on the show. The other day I was on the phone with Brent, and I said, Brent, how many properties do you think you've flipped in your lifetime? What was the number he dropped?
2,500.
2,500.
Which is a couple.
It's a few.
He says it like it's nothing. I like 2,500.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to get Brent Blaine on Titanium Tuesdays, please drop in the comments and tag Brent Blaine so we can convince him to come on.
I love it.
Back to your point. I just wanted to line up a future guest.
Back to RJ being a control freak. Yeah, I think that was like a big thing, and I think that's something that we both struggle with a little bit. And for me, I mean, I've let go of a lot of the, oh my gosh, I have to know everything that's going on with everything. Sometimes I do still struggle with it because I feel like, more. It's not a power struggle. It's not a control struggle, but it's more of a, man, I could have been involved in taking care of that, which is more important than what I was taking care of at the moment. So sometimes there's still, that dynamic in it. But I would say, those were kind of things that we faced in the beginning. RJ's kind of just naturally a control freak, and he's gotten so much better.
I've noticed, but going back to his growth is, even here in the shows, the first couple shows, any kind of direction is trying to pull hair out. But as we've done it more and more and more, I think he understands, hey, I'm just trying to help. Anything that the direction is not trying to take over your stuff.
Yeah.
It's just trying to help. And I just in our little once
circle,
a week here, you've seen that growth.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I continually try to work on. And I think one of the things that was really helped is with us partnering with people like the Elijahs and the Petes and the Jeremys and the Johns, who in and of themselves are leaders. They could have their own companies. They don't need the RJ and Cassi. They've chosen to be a part of that to try to accomplish more. And what I've had to realize is that I can't always go in and tell Jeremy how to do what he's doing for Arizona. I have to let him be able to flourish, but also make mistakes. Because Cassi and I had the opportunity to make mistakes as entrepreneurs from 2012 to 2015 before we found Titanium Investments. We were a whole nother company. We made a ton of mistakes. I remember there was times where we didn't handle upset customers correctly. We didn't handle, there was a lot of things that we didn't handle correctly. And so now I look at it and I'm looking at some of our partners who are, 6-9 months into their journey of being an entrepreneur. And I'm like, I can't be as harsh on them where I'm, 8 years in on this and they're making a mistake 6 months in on this. So I have to let them fail forward and make those mistakes.
It's very similar to as a kid, I mean, it's the whole growing pains. If you really think about it, the growing pains as a kid, I'm really good at analogies. It's already in my head. I had one yesterday that was a gold mine. But as a growing pains, it's the whole point of that is because you're growing to be and become an adult. The same thing as a partnership, as a business. You have to, if you struggle early, that makes for stronger bones later.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I say legitimately
Can you write that down?
all of the time
that was gold, y'all.
Challenges are just an opportunity to grow, as a business, as a person. And I don't view I legitimately view life this way across the board. I don't review it I don't view it as a problem. I view it as a challenge. It's just something that needs a solution, and that's just life. I don't really. I mean, very few things in life, in my opinion, are, just problems.
Right.
You know, there's things that you can't control, of course, but how you react is everything in life and business. So it's
But that goes back to what I was saying before about, you know, there's nothing so dire that you can't take a beat.
Absolutely.
And is that something that's always naturally been there, or is that more of because we have so many different partnerships that go across the country that if you did stress out very quickly, you would have already had a heart attack by 6 years ago?
So I think that that's been something that, again, we have been refined through our challenges and the things that we've learned as entrepreneurs, failing forward, whatever you want to call it, because RJ and I are both the personnel, it's not just a control thing. We are naturally we tackle things, we take care of them, we want to get it done, move on, and we're hustlers. I wouldn't even say it's just a tenacity thing, because I don't know. Sometimes I view tenacity as a good word, and sometimes I view it as a bad word. But we like to handle things right now.
We also don't accept anything but the success that we feel like we deserve.
Right.
I mean, I look back. So often now I get people that reach out and they say, hey, I want to be a part of Titanium Investments, or how did you get to where you are today? First of all, let me be honest. We don't feel like we've done a whole lot. We don't feel like we've accomplished anything at this point in time. We still have tons of issues in our business, and we're working on those daily. But that being said, we have taken massive action. And going back to some of the things that Cassie and I are willing to do that I don't think a lot of people are willing to do. Mm-hmm. And it's, we rented a Fiat and drove from Dallas to Indianapolis through snowstorms so we can make $1,200.
Mm-hmm. We've had that
was
day.
Was that recent?
No. This was way back when.
I was gonna say,
this was back when $1,200 was life changing.
Mm-hmm.
That was hey, RJ can pay his house rent.
Well, and again, everything in real estate and everything in, I'm not sure.
I sure knew.
It doesn't matter. I'm the sick one. Everything's perspective, because $1,200, that's still a lot of money.
Right.
I have the best point to this, and I'm not going to say names, but somebody said to me this week, and this person totally turned it around, so definitely not going to say names because this person did an awesome thing and went to bat for this situation. But this person actually said to me this week, what is $2,250 to Titanium Investments?
Like $22.50?
No. $2,250. And I said,
it's my money.
I said, how much marketing can that buy us? How many people does that put food on their tables that work for us? How much, you know what I'm saying? Just because we make money doing other things and we make good money, I am not ashamed of that. I have worked really hard to make sure our company is where it is, and $2,000 is a lot to some people in our business, and we put a lot of money back into our business. And it's who are you to say, because we make money doing real estate that, maybe more than $2,000, that $2,000 that's rightfully ours should not be paid to us. That is the most absurd thing.
There's another nugget for you guys. It's if you're in this business, you're in this business to make money. Don't be ashamed that you're making mone.
Oh, absolutely not.
And to me, if you owe me $1, and you're not, if you're just not malicious, you're like, oh, my bad, here's your $1. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I'm just saying, if you owe me $1 and you're like, well, it's only $1, it's like, the fuck?
It's not your $1, it's my $1.
There's a quote right there. It's not your $1, it's my $1. But I hope we get a
I
picture
earned
of that.
But again, I mean, I think Cassie has, outside of anybody, myself included, she has dedicated herself to the success that we've had in our company. I mean, to the point of we've been at houses till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, making sure that the job gets done. I just got a notification that I think it was two or 3 years ago. We actually took a property that we had wholesaled, and the person who we wholesaled the property to could not sell the property. It would not sell. And we actually partnered with him, knowing that the property was going to take a loss, as a relationship building activity. Like, okay, we are going to join in on this. We are going to convert this property to an Airbnb, and we short term rented it out on Airbnb, and we ended up selling the property for, I believe, a $22,000 loss that we ate 50% of. But going back to it, I got the notification that 2-3 years ago, we were up at this property over in Fort Worth, staging it, hanging pictures, getting all the dishes clean and stuff like that so we could roll it out for our first Airbnb guests. These are the things that nobody really sees,
Yeah,
you know?
And there's two things I want to get there, so hopefully I remember one. One is I want to talk about now is that relationship building activities, but the other one I want to get to after that is the fact that everybody sees where you're at now. They don't see the grind.
Absolutely.
So hold that in the back of our heads if I forget it, and help me out if I do. But let's go to relationship building activities, because we always strive in this business to always make sure whatever you're doing that day has purpose. If you're just chilling with your kids, your family, your friends, the purpose there is just for you to
Unplug.
chill out, unplug.
Yeah.
But the rest of your day, you need to have money-making activities.
Absolutely.
So if we can tangent into that, because I think that's a great way to bring that up, because I've never heard it phrased that way.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Cassie and I have really focused our business on is we want to create relationships with people across the board, but we never attack that situation where it's like, hey, I want to create a relationship with you and I want to make money. No, we add value to them immediately. I probably, more than any activity that I do on a daily basis, is random phone calls to people saying, hey, I have an opportunity for you to make money. Just for example, on the way here today, I called Quentin Flores based off of a post that he posted yesterday on Facebook. Okay, you did something, I need you to do that for me, and I'm gonna offer you this. If he can come through for me, I'll probably write him a check for $12,000 to $15,000 off of a Facebook post.
Somebody tag Q.
Yeah, so if somebody wants Quentin to make $12,000 to $15,000 a day, tag him in this so I can do that. But I mean, these are the things that I'm bringing him an opportunity, saying, hey, you just said you did it yesterday. If you can repeat that occurrence, you make money.
Right.
And so often I get people that reach out and they want to do business with us, but it's not reciprocal. You have to add value first. Don't ask first.
Yeah.
Bring value. And so Cassie's done a really good job. I attack it pretty aggressively, but Cassie comes more on the long term, like just the two of you guys. I mean, how y'all have y'all's friendship and how y'all have long conversations and really talk about business and how.
What friends listen to Endless Love in the Dark?
But I mean, but that is one of the things that that adds the power, because that to you makes you respect us in Titanium Investments. But it's Cassie. That's not me. That's her having long conversations with you.
Like we need to have long conversations.
You guys are going to be on the phone.
But you know what I'm
midnight.
saying, because you've experienced working with both of us now at this point in time, where it's a whole different dynamic between the two of us. And she does such a good job of nurturing those relationships.
Q just joined.
And Quentin, I've got an opportunity for you to make like $12,000 a day.
Better
so
call us.
call me when
I'm
I'm done here. But she does such a great job of nurturing those relationships and really getting down to the core of what the people that we are doing business and trying to build those relationships need, so we can add value.
Yeah, I am kind of like you don't have to. Like, I'm not as aggressive as RJ. I kind of just slowly, one day you wake up and you realize, oh my God, I love Cassie so much.
Well, one thing I just want to point out, just because over the past year and a half, I've kind of vocally attacked this, is there's a difference between seeking out relationship activities and being like, hey Cassie, I want to take you to coffee and pick your brain.
Yeah.
That is not adding value.
Nope.
That's trying to leech value.
Yes.
For the price of a cup of coffee.
Right.
Hey, I want to take you to lunch and leech your brain. It's a different.
Which we get
completely different scenario.
We get a lot of those, obviously, but I feel like for example, somebody just yesterday, they're trying to get more experience. They've done real estate. It's a couple. And the woman reached out to me and she said, hey, Like she has, said, hey, if you don't mind, can you just tell me about this? And I give that value. I go, yeah, let's talk about it, because people want that. Like people come to me for comfort because I'm the nurturer out of the two of us. RJ's definitely more like the direct, like this, and this. And I have no problem. I'm like, yeah, I'll carve out 30 minutes for you later on today. Let's talk. And now, like literally less than 10 days later, we have a 24 apartment JV deal on 34. The table. 34, I apologize. A 30, I don't even know where 24 came from.
That's what you're gonna give me for something.
So like, now, because they're like, let's do a deal together, because this person nurtured our relationship and didn't mind adding value, and they were appreciative. Like I hear all of the time, even sometimes from our own staff, like, I know how busy you are, and I just really appreciate you taking the time. And I'm just like, this is what I live for. This is what I do this all for. Like without all of the people, it would be just me and RJ doing like very few deals. What are you doing?
I'm laughing because Quentin just keeps...
Answer the phone, bro.
Quentin just keeps calling me, answer the phone live, bro. Let's do this.
Do it.
He's calling me right now.
One thing about, adding value, I mean, obviously that's what we try to do here at Propelio. And it's not because we love it. I mean, we do love everybody. But, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like if we can give this massive value left and right, eventually you're going to need to be able to pull comps. You're going to need to have some lead lists, and you're going to need to have a website. And who are you going to do business with? The person that's provided you value for a year, 2 years, really got your foot in this game, or some other company that you got an email from.
I am totally going to point out the actual timeline of our relationship with Propelio to completely concrete proof, like that is 100%
coming at you, y'all.
True. Because so first of all, I am a licensed realtor, so like I don't need help pulling comps in
now,
DFW.
Did you get that from his approval? Sorry,
Nah.
I need to stop.
You're lucky I love you. No, so we didn't use Propelio.
Yeah.
I believe maybe about just around almost a year and a half to 2 years ago.
It was fall of 17 is when we really started pushing
Well,
the
RJ
socials.
had interviewed Daniel
First
before y'all.
podcast ever.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and I was like, oh, this seems like really cool, like a very on the surface, just like those people now who I'm like, how do you not know what Propelio does? But I was just like, that seems like a really cool concept and company if they pull it off. And I listened to the interview and I loved the interview with Daniel, and I was like, oh heck yeah! But I didn't even meet y'all until our charity golf tournament that year. And
Where
yeah,
Daniel was he had thrown his back, so he was all hooked up on codeine and
I was like, buddy.
Just pills.
But yeah, I met y'all and I was like, they seem like cool guys, and I was glad to meet them. Still didn't use Propelio. Still kind of kept the relationship with y'all like randomly when we'd run into each other. Y'all still, we didn't really start using Propelio until we could actually have our team members use it, because it helped their ability to analyze the property before it got to us. So we have several layers in our business. And then also in every other market that we are in, that we have a partner in, and I am not licensed in that state, you guys like save lifesavers. Like I get so mad when Propelio is not available in another market. I know, and I'm gonna just make sure to like put names in the hat for markets that I want you to go to first. But no, I mean it is truly like we didn't even actively seek it out, knowing what you guys did. But you started adding value to us. We started adding value to you, and it's just like, holy crap! Like we should be using them.
And what was the phrase? Mutually
beneficial.
No, relationship building activities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So go golfing with people.
Yeah, go golfing or do podcasts with people. Be adding value. You and I actually talk about like a reciprocal relationship, just even with this show, even with like, the marketing thing in Arizona, because we have an Arizona branch, like it doesn't matter. There's always opportunity. And when you feel like you are in a good relationship and you mesh well, like we don't do the exact same thing, but we like just our friendship, just our relationship business-wise, like that
Reciprocates.
Yeah, it reciprocates across the board.
I have to interject
Reciprocity,
here.
that's what I was trying to say.
John Brown just pointed out, he said, hey, I'll move across the country to help you out.
Yeah.
So for y'all that haven't heard this story, John Brown lived in Spokane, Washington,
Yep.
and just literally dropped everything and moved all the way to Akron, Ohio to open up Titanium Investments of Ohio. When John reached out to me, it's because he watched a video very similar to this, where for like 45 minutes to an hour, I just got to talk about Titanium Investments. He felt like it was a good fit for him and something that he would want in his life. And so he reached out to me, and before he asked for anything from me, he told me what value he would add to my life. And since then, that guy has done nothing but prove himself correct and given everything that we could possibly ask from him. And in return, now we're doing business together. We just got our first deal in Akron last week with
Warrior spirit.
Yeah, with my good old buddy Todd Fleming brought it to us, and we're actually getting it essentially for what I like to call free. It's actually no money down real estate. The seller financing 100% of it to us. So love that for John. Love that for Titanium Investments, but. I mean, that's what I'm talking about with, like, that's a relationship building activity.
And before we go to another break, I do want to point out that, like, real estate is always about networking. It's always about those relationships. But at the end of the day, it's I think, especially for newer people, they don't realize that, yes, you can do favors and yes, you can do those relationship building activities. But at the end of the day, somebody got to get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, or you have to get some sort of mutual benefit out of it. I mean, if you develop a friendship, cool, that's a friendship. Don't be helping each other out in business. That's a friendship.
Right.
But if you are doing business activities, there's got to be a business motivation and a benefit there.
I think it's
Absolutely.
harder for people that are new too, because a lot of people get into real estate investing because they're like, oh, I can make $30,000 a deal. And I'm like, I only need to do 4 deals a year. And, you know, like they have this concept of it that's not what it is in actuality. And so when they're first in it, a lot of times I think people get into this situation because, you know, they don't have to have an education. They can educate themselves, number one. And number two, it takes a lot of people a lot of hustle to get into it, so they're ready to get paid. And so they're pinching every penny on it, and they're not really realizing that if they were to like let go of like counting your dollar in the beginning.
If it's supposed to be a 50-50, do a 50-50. Don't do an 80-20 just because you need to get paid.
Well, do a 50-50 just to get some deals going in the pipeline, man.
One thing I want to point out, though, I think a lot of it is, as a newer investor, you go to a meetup, subtle plug, February 12th, DFW Real Estate Investor Meetup by Propelio. You go to a meetup and you see relationships like us being all goofy and being all friendly, and you're like, are they friends? Are they doing business? Well, it's probably both. And then but it's not just us. It's everybody is like this huge incestuous web of, is that one company? It's like, no, everybody's separate. So if you're new, you see that and you're like, oh, cool, I love the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yes, there is camaraderie. But if people ain't getting paid, you're not going to be in the inner circle.
Actually,
And it
I'm glad
also
you
goes
brought
back
that up.
to the value. Like,
Yeah.
figure out what value you can bring right now, continue to grow, find a place where that value is needed, and go for it. Sorry.
So I'm glad you brought that up
Yeah.
because since we're doing subtle plugs.
Go for it.
The Titanium Vault is my podcast, and it comes out on every Friday. This week we had Grant Kemp, and Grant and I actually talk about the Propelio family and what this has done for our lives and our businesses by the opportunity that you guys have opened up for us to have shows on here. Grant was kind of the pioneer for everybody. He was the first person outside of Propelio that had a show, and I think he really breaks it down and puts a great perspective. So keep an eye out for that episode on Friday.
Yeah, and I love that, the whole Propelio community, family thing, because it is a thing. And I'm not just up here like tooting our horn.
No, it is.
It's like the fact that, this is going to sound like a self-grandizing, but the fact that I've been on a live and drive on my personal feed and deals are being done on a personal, where I'm just sitting there singing karaoke show tunes and there's a side conversation of, I've got a deal, let's do business. That's completely absurd to me, and I love every ounce of it.
Yeah,
It's
that's got to
amazing.
be the best feeling too, because
I mean, I would rather get paid, but to see other people get paid too is awesome.
yes, there is that experience sometimes, like when you are putting yourself out there, like in this format. Sometimes that is rough. I mean, I tune into the live and drives just to tell you to sing me to sleep, but yeah, like I've seen so many deals go down there, and that's got to be like a really good feeling because, I mean, but that happens even, you know, to us sometimes too. You know,
It's
it
awesome.
is what it is. It's awesome.
Well, let's. Did you have a quick thought?
No, we got to pay the bills. Commercial.
Well, thrown me. Oh, thrown. That's the word for the day. Thrown.
Kind of like when Grant did Platinum Investments to me on stage, and I was like, I got thrown.
Yeah.
I was like,
Anyway, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to do our final thoughts, final plugs.
Ask questions.
And if you have questions, get to them. I know we've had several comments in there. Cassie or myself hasn't been behind the screen to do it, so RJ's, you know, he's learning. Well, actually, RJ doesn't have his assistant to help him out today.
right?
So anyway, but stick around. We'll be right back. Get those questions, comments in, and stick around. Thank you so much for watching. And we're back. All right, so thanks again for everybody watching. Before we get into our final thoughts, before we get into like our final questions, comments, just want to not so subtly plug Propelio. Propelio.com, it's software tools for your real estate investment needs. So depending on what market you're on will depend on what tools you get, just because each market is different. But primarily, we're lead lists, we're comps, and we're websites. So if you need a very quick, investor-friendly website that you can have live within 15 seconds, check out Propelio.com. If you need access to pull like accurate MLS comps through a broker's website, Propelio.com. Also, if you need leads to go market to, where do they go?
Propelio.com.
Exactly.
Wow.
Titanium Investments. What are y'all looking for? What kind of business are y'all trying to do?
We buy houses. That's what we do. We're always looking for houses, so please send them to us.
But that's in what all markets though.
We'll buy anywhere. I mean, I say that jokingly. I mean, there's certain areas that we're not going to purchase in, but I'm always looking for either portfolios to establish new markets, cash flowing rentals, and we're going to be a little bit more strict on flips, but please send anything that you have to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
We'll give you feedback on the deal as well. I mean, if it's not a market, I mean, if you respect any of our opinions, I'll tell you what I think about it as well.
So before I get a queue of like some comments to read and questions to read, what are some final thoughts about y'all's partnership? Anything that we missed? I know we could probably talk about this for days.
Legitimately.
So just wanted to jump in there.
I think the one thing that probably shocks most people about mine and Cassie's partnership is that there is never a question of whether or not we are going to continue down this path to do business together. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is truly a bond that cannot be broken. I know that she makes me a better business person. I know she makes everybody in Titanium Investments better. But also, I know that she lifts me up and she makes me better to be better for our partners and for all of our employees. And that's something that cannot be replaced. And in turn, we've transferred that over to our other partners. I truly feel like I say the word partner more than anybody in real estate investing, but it is true. I mean, it's our whole business is based around the people that we do business with. The story about John that I shared earlier, I mean, that's one of the most humbling moments to do business with Elijah, my childhood best friend, Pete Carpenter in Alaska, someone that I've known since junior high, just all because of the relationship and the foundation that Cassie and I built together.
And just to add to that point, like without me getting emotional about this, just because I'm an emotional person.
We love tears.
No, I feel like it's an honor. I feel like it's an honor to have this man as my business partner. And that's not because I couldn't go out there and kill it by myself, but it's like RJ said, my life is significantly better. Our business is significantly better that we are partners. We have that relationship and that kind of bond. And I would not want to ever do any of this without him. Like, that's just it. That's at the end of the day, not because I can't, not because he couldn't, but, you know, as individuals we're better, as a team we're better, our partners are better, and that's it at the end of the day. There's never a question about that. But I also feel like very honored, like our other partners and the people that work for us. Like, it is an honor. It is sometimes not just humbling, but, you know, we take that responsibility very seriously, and we want people to be.
I love it. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the comments. We've got Jeremy Counter commenting, thanks for sharing your story. I wouldn't know Jeremy, and I don't actually know him, but we're friends on Facebook. But Jeremy is, and I don't want to put words into what his career is, but I believe he's a mortgage loan officer in Anchorage, Alaska. And here he is tuning in, and that wouldn't be possible without our partners and our opportunities to open up new markets. And it's humbling to see that kind of a response from somebody literally and all the way up in Alaska. So thanks for tuning in, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody tuning in. And again, there's a form, and I'll drop that form link again. Where's the, dang it, I'll get there. There it is. The first 10 people, and only a few have done it so far, the first 10 people to share the YouTube link, not the Facebook link, will get a copy of Richest Man in Babylon. So if you, I'll drop it in the comments there, drop it in the comments there. So yeah, so let's hit up some comments and some questions and see where that leads us. Ace Ham, I have a high-end fix and flip. Would love to partner with you. I know you've already responded what market, but how high, what's high-end to you, and how high of end would you go?
Depends on the market. Like Hawaii high-end is totally different than like
yeah, their high-end is like a shack.
Yeah.
No, their low-end is a shack, but it would be a high-end here because of the amount of money.
Yeah.
So Sparkman Club Estates, that's in Dallas. So high-end, you know, in Dallas, I mean, right now, I would consider high-end like $750,000 to $1 million, you know, but really trying to say.
Are y'all still pulling the trigger on those?
You know.
Does the range have to be?
Depends on where it's at. Days on market.
We still have a couple that we're working on ourselves.
Because I would say I say most. The couple people I've talked to are kind of like, over 500, I'm slowing down.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not taking down as many at a time, but it's not, you know, if it's the right area and like when I say numbers are right, it's not just like about a purchase price. It's about all factors.
Yeah, everything,
you know, and actually breaking down your costs
Is it days
to
on
hold
market?
it.
Is the rehab like $1?
Yeah.
So Denise Shields Justin, I can open one in Kansas City for you, no problem. So
What, earned partnership? Is that what she's talking about?
Yep.
either that or Propelio, so we both should hit her up.
Denise, holla girl.
Something
like
up.
both.
Let's
Like
do
let's
both.
do both.
Jay Lee was Jer Lee.
Chain Link.
She got so mad at me the other day because I purposely mispronounced her name on the show, and she was vicious. Her name is
He
Jay
does it to
Lee.
me all the
So
time.
speaking of which, I got ridiculed back at the Titanium Investments office because last week, or 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, purposely said Miss Thompson instead of Jay Lee because for whatever reason, I always mispronounce your name and say Jer Lee, even though I know it's Jay Lee. And so, Miss Thompson, I apologize for what I did 2 weeks ago.
I did. I was like, call her Jaylee. Like, I know sometimes you mispronounce her name still. I don't know why. But I did it, you know, for a good 6 months, probably. So I get it.
Don Crosby has a fun question. Again, how the hell do you share a YouTube link? You copy it. You could post it on YouTube. You could post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, post it on LinkedIn. write it down and mail it to somebody. That actually would be funny.
Copy
would
and
be
paste
funny.
it in your email.
You can email it to people. Kristen Gertz was saying hello, saying how gorgeous Cassie looks, or maybe she was talking to us. You think she was talking to us, RJ?
I think so, probably.
Jeremiah was telling Quentin to keep calling.
I do have like several missed calls from Quentin.
Kristen was saying that she loves me and gets so much business from Propelio.
Heck yeah.
Answer the phone. Pretty sure I didn't have to wait to. Oh, Kelly was
Love
saying
you
she
too,
loved
Kelly.
you first off the bat.
We did hit it off right away.
Joe was talking about moving cross country. Quentin likes money. Sorry. There's a lot of comments. So
About
Haley
Quentin.
Gant, she points out a good quote here from you, RJ. Add value first, don't ask.
You know what? Just gonna throw this out there.
That was
That
a
right
cold
there
nugget.
is Instagram worthy. So
Oh, it
Trey,
will be.
So Trey, if you don't have a good picture of me,
Yeah, now's your
Let's
chance.
get one.
you need to get a
when we're not
picture,
live.
and I expect to see that on Instagram later today.
Oh, here.
I
look,
think
I'm making a
I said
tag.
something good in there.
Boom.
Did we just have a golden nugget shower?
No, wait.
We did.
Gold nugget shower.
We did.
So
Stop
gross.
it.
But yeah, thank you, Haley, for pointing that out.
are
What
listening
did
to
you
this
miss,
version.
Quentin? Well, you missed the whole damn show. Bradley giving some waves. Lindsay giving you some love. She's talking about the Fiat.
Oh my gosh, the Fiat.
Joel, thanks for watching. I don't
Rose
know.
booms.
What is that?
The Rose Booms. So that's who we went to see
Oh.
in Indiana, were the Rose Booms. So
All right, let's see if we can get any.
I
There
still
you
want
go.
to see more people tagging Brent Blaine on here. We only have one person do it. The
Well-
guy flipped 2,500 houses.
Laura, I struggle with letting go of control. Too many group projects with slackers in school, I guess. Look, I get it. I'll tell it. And then Sonia's talking about the morning, a circle of trust. Dawn's still complaining about YouTube links. Michelle, difficult delegating responsibility. Those who are not sure about can be very tricky. I can relate what I can't read. I relate exactly what
to
RJ is
that
saying.
point,
Yes,
like
please.
it is legitimately something that I think that we all struggle with, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you've built your business. Like it's very natural to want to have control over every component, especially in what we do. Like, but I would say that my best advice that I could possibly give in this category would be to like learn to stair step it. You don't have to go from being like a complete control freak to like completely delegating everything. But what you really just want to do is like, okay, I'm going to structure this to delegate this, this, and this to this person, this person, this person, and then follow up, like have an accountability factor. Make sure there's checks and balances because that's the only way you're ever gonna let go. If you just try to go from like 0 to 100 in like a second, like that's never the best way to achieve it. And I think that
You'll miss
also
things,
involves
too.
that fear factor or that comfort factor that you deal with and like letting stuff go or delegating things like that. So that's like my best advice or how I start to let go of control of certain aspects of our business.
But she also brings up a really good point. Following that up is having good systems in place will prevent many
Yeah.
errors or issues. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's allowed us to let go of a lot of different aspects of our
yes.
business.
Yes.
But real quick, because we didn't, you're too far down on your list. You're gonna miss this.
There's 14, yeah.
Today is Sonia Ray's birthday. And
Sonia.
I don't think there's a bigger supporter of Propelio out there.
I
was gonna get to it.
Oh, my bad.
okay. Well,
I stole Ryan's thunder.
way to go.
Sonia,
Anyways, happy birthday,
She
Sonia.
actually did. She got my first because I have a pet peeve and it's my internal pet peeve that Brittany Washington has squashed. Because I'm not a fan of telling people happy birthday on Facebook.
Right.
Like if you know the people, text them, call them,
Yeah.
Right.
mail them a card.
Make an effort.
Make an effort. And Facebook is just like
So
happy birthday.
effortless. The happy, yeah.
So I've never really done the Facebook thing, but Brittany Washington's like Facebook loves love. So if they're telling you to say happy birthday, do it.
Good
so
job,
Sonia
Brittany.
got my first Facebook happy birthday in ever.
You know what? For those of you that have a large following on Facebook, that have they're maxed out at the 5,000 friends, birthdays are a good way for you to clean that list up, though. It notifies you every day who you're friends with, whose birthday it is, and you see who, if you don't interact with them, you don't know who they are. Maybe you need to clean them up, remove them, and it
A
opens
little bit
up
at
new
a time,
space.
yeah. That's
What
a
I
good point.
usually do is like once a month I go through and like delete out the ones that don't have pictures anymore. Because
Yep.
those are like
Oh,
dead
that's the
profiles.
easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get a good question here. Sohail was asked, what about exit strategy and succession? Are you saying succession or success planning? Do you all have a structure in place where if both of you or one of you, it was succession, like succeed, however you said that in those words, that spelling. I can't read. Do you all have a structure in place when if one of you decide to leave the business, does not lose continuity?
Yeah, without going into like too many details there, because some of it's about entity structures and things like that, and like estate planning. So we could almost have like an entire episode just on that. But there are things put into place where really we haven't talked about so much if one of us were to leave, because we don't really think that's an option, but more of if something unfortunate were to happen where one of us were injured or
Got hit by a bus.
or dead, what would happen to the company. So we have insurance in place for that, key performer insurance, something like that.
Yeah.
And then also just different things as far as how we structured the entities. But yeah, I mean, that's as far as like if Cassie decided she wanted to leave and go do her own thing, the plan that we have in place there is I would kill her. So that's pretty much how we have that structured.
Did you
I've already hired his
on
hitman,
an
like,
internet
who's-
video that you were going to end her?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. So you should be too.
See? We're hard. When we say we're hardcore people, we mean it.
You want to leave this business?
Yeah.
You want to die?
One way in, one way out.
Exactly. I actually think I've said that before.
That should be it. That's the next shirt, Trey. Propelio shirt where it's like, you may enter, but you can't leave or something to the fact.
Like the
where,
Hotel California.
Yeah, where it's like on the front side it's all the money and Scrooge McDuck with the coins,
Yes.
but on the back it's like if you want to leave, it's just the cemetery.
We'll bury
It
you.
got dark quick. Anyway, I think on that, I think it's a good stopping place.
Murder is a
Murder.
good stopping
Murder.
place.
It's a good
So
ending
that's
place.
that's your pro tip. I don't know if this is a golden nugget, Thomas, but if you want your partnership to end,
You die.
end it.
Put that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's
No.
like
Hashtag death.
hashtag that.
Please don't do
So,
that.
any other parting thoughts at all?
We just appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening to our crazy rantings, and we hope we just bring everybody value every week. And I guess if y'all want me to be on more often, holler, because we're going to be doing some testing. I'm always behind the scenes. I think we're going to be like doing some where we're both on and rotating, whatever. We're going to
Tennille was like tagging Dateline now.
tagging Dateline now just
and then
in
and
case.
Sonya was like blood in, blood out.
Yes.
So if you
If
are
I'm
a
going to be
fan,
murdered, I better be on Dateline.
if you are a fan of the show and you watch the show, please do me a favor. Please right now go click on Sonya Ray's name and then, add a friend. Don't add a friend, doesn't matter, but add a message. But that message, I don't want you to say happy birthday. I want you to do a video of you singing happy birthday to her, and I want you to flood her message box with you singing happy birthday.
Yeah.
That being said, before we go,
Happy
birthday
birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sonya.
Happy birthday to you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take us out, Thomas.
Later.
Almost. Hey, everybody. I'm Ryan with Propelio. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Turn on those notifications and stick around for more. We have tons of content like this all over our channel. So if you want to learn more about real estate investing, stick around, watch Propelio TV, and we'll see you later.